Well, holy crap, we're back for another installment of Home Cooking Hacks and Heroes with me from my group with my name on it because it's me. Um, it's Ryan Lindley. I have an awesome, super exciting guest to have today with me. It's kind of blowing my mind. I've got a real full-fledged pitmaster. His name's Travis Patterson. He's from Mobile, Alabama, and he's also a co-owner of Flaps 20 Sauces and Rubs. And I'm going to bring him in right now. It should
What's
be
going on, Ryan? How are
There
you
you are,
doing?
buddy. How are you,
I'm
dude?
glad. I'm glad to be here. I'm
I'm
glad to be
so
here.
glad. I'm so glad you're here.
Oh
What's
yeah,
what's shaking? How's things down south?
man, it's good. We're still, I guess, with the whole world, we're still at the stay-at-home phase, and
Same with
and
us.
which to us down in the South means get fat stage, because all we do is eat. But we're doing good. We're blessed, and everybody is healthy. I'm getting to cook more than I have ever cooked and practiced. So,
That's awesome.
yeah, that's what we're doing.
That's fantastic. I'm glad to hear you guys are safe. And I watched your video the other day, your live hits from your street barbecue feeding the neighbors. That was
Yes,
pretty good.
yes, and that's becoming a thing. We're gonna call it Quarantine Q. And every weekend, there's somebody else that comes over. They bring me some food, or they'll bring me steaks or ribs, or actually we're going to do ribs tomorrow. They'll bring it to me, and then I'll feed as many people as I can in the neighborhood. Two or
That's
three families come by and they'll eat it up. So
that's awesome. That is awesome. I'm so glad to hear it. But today we actually we had a bit of an agenda, and we had a cool
yes, we
idea
do.
that you
Yes,
had
we
come up
do.
with, and that was let's talk about beef. Let's keep it strictly to one ingredient, which all of us love, and you're gonna kind of walk us through your preparations and your methods of madness for steak, and for maybe give our friends that are watching um, some homework so that they
I,
can.
and again, I've seen and talking to you when you came up and did the live last time. This is great. These lives, every page that I belong to is having something like this, either a contest or live cooks or demos or question and answer stuff, and it's great. The thing is, to me, you learn all this stuff or you talk about it, and then you never do it again unless you're going to do it by yourself.
Right.
It's really hard to do a demo when somebody at home watching doesn't even know what they need to do it with.
and
So
that's
that's
and
what,
that's
yeah.
it. So did you come armed with with a specific piece of protein,
I,
or?
I all day long, I've repainted my refrigerator, my beer fridge outside. I repainted it with chalk paint a couple years ago.
Right.
And all day long, I've been writing notes on it. I'll stop doing what I'm doing. I'll write another note
Nice.
about how, if I was on the other side of this, how I would do it. So I kind of came up with some notes on Steak 101. And I think me and you just discussing and bouncing stuff off, having other people, come with questions and all that. But start with the basics. I think, honestly, there's a lot of people out there, this page, all the other pages, there's people that they want to cook. They want to cook good, but they're just starting out. So
Right.
I figure, we talk about like a little bit of an agenda that I wrote down was types of steaks. I mean,
What's your
when was the
favorite?
last
What's
time?
what's your go-to? Like what's Travis's we're having steak night and this is what I want.
Okay, if and now, because I do competition barbecue and the SCA events and stuff like that, I tend to practice every time I cook. So because of that, I'm really pigeonholed into ribeyes. That's what the SCA does, ribeyes. But if it's a Friday night and buddies are coming over, or hey, you and your wife driving down to Mobile, Alabama from Canada, I'm going to throw on a flank steak. Man,
Oh
flank
yeah.
is my absolute flanker skirt, you can't go wrong.
The flavor, and you get like a chimichurri even sometimes with them,
Oh,
and like just
yes,
such a
yes.
great. Speaking of, I just wanted to really quickly. I'm going to bring Ashley in just to say hi. Ashley is moderating our comments in the comment section, and she's doing the backwoods work for us, getting things shared on different pages and such. Anything going on?
Just kind of hanging out.
Yeah.
Just some people coming in and out, watching, listening.
All right,
No
good
big
stuff.
questions so far.
All
Keep
right.
up the good
All
work,
right.
gentlemen.
We'll have some good questions, I think, at the end of this.
I'll be here.
All right. We'll check back shortly.
I'll be here. Enjoy yourself.
So what's your like what so what are your takes on a good steak? Like
My
what
f-
is
My cut, and I'm the same. I'm a ribeye nut. Like I love ribeyes, and don't get me wrong. How can you not? Like it's a tough steak to mess up just because by biology it's a good tender piece of meat.
yes.
Even people that like their steaks a little overdone than I would prefer, it still turns out okay. And it wasn't until I got into sous vide and realized that I can take a cheap cut of meat and make it as tender as, say, a ribeye, with sometimes a little more like a different flavor profile, like say an inside round steak, to as opposed to like you'll get that intense flavor you get from your skirt steaks and your flanks. But up here, like a skirt or a flank is expensive. Like it's expensive meat up here. So it's one of those. I guess if I'm not looking to spend all day doing it, I'll do a ribeye, like you say. And if I want to, like, if I have time and I want to take my time and I want to challenge myself and take a cheap cut and make it better, wow some people, I'll do like a cheap cut just for the challenge.
Yeah, and I fully agree. I think there is no if you know what you're buying, and that's the key. If you know that you're buying a top round, you have to know what to do with that top round.
Right.
If you're
It
buying,
needs time, and it needs heat, and it
yes,
needs love.
yeah.
Yeah.
Some of the best steak I've ever had was a thin cut tip steak, which comes from the knuckle or the round. Super thin. It was maybe a quarter of an inch, but all I did was throw it with a little bit of butter, salt, pepper, garlic, throw it in a cast iron skillet, and just get that char on each side.
Yeah.
Not a minute on each side. Take it out, slice it up. It was good.
See, that's my sticking point. I always tell people when it comes to beef, if you're using anything more than salt, pepper, and garlic on your beef, you're masking it, and there's a reason you're masking it. It's because it's probably shitty meat. You know what I mean? And
Yep.
I'm not a snob by any chance or by any means. A little bit, but I'm not. And it's just I can hear my wife laughing upstairs at me right now.
Wait a minute, you're drinking beer out of a glass. Like I got a can.
No,
I got a can. Come on.
All right, fine.
Okay, see?
There.
Okay. I mean, you got to think you're talking to a guy from Alabama. I mean, so
that's true. So you pick up on the little nuances like that, I guess.
Yes.
Tell me about your company. Tell me about you before we keep going. Tell me a bit about your company. I want to hear about how you got into it, and what you were in the Coast Guard, like that.
I'm still in the Coast Guard.
Active Coast Guard.
Yeah, I'm active duty United States Coast Guard. And we've actually done some training missions with you guys up in Canada, and you guys, it's awesome. You guys have, your Coast Guard is top notch.
Yeah, we have a really neat contingency, just because of, again, same as you guys, we have both left and right coast have oceans,
water.
So
yeah,
it's
we run missions with you guys sometimes, and we do like dual training. And what's really, really cool. And it kind of tripped me out at first. I worked on 60s, or what they would call Black Hawks. Worked on them for a long time. And I came into work one day and I saw this guy, and I'm not trying to make fun, but the guy was
okay.
like, he's like, come on, let's go fly. And I'm like, what? Wait a minute. You got the Canadian flag on your flight suit. Like, where are you taking me? Like, but I didn't realize that we have a pilot exchange program where we send a guy from the Coast Guard here, and he goes up to the Canadian Coast Guard, and the Canadian Coast Guard will send a guy down, one or two or three people down, guys or girls, and they'll fly our planes, and it's it's really a cool dynamic that we
Really,
got.
eh? That is
Yes.
nice. It's nice to know, because like we're the closest, obviously allies to each other, and
Right.
and
Oh,
we
yeah.
rely on each other a lot, like, and especially in these trying times, it's weird not to be able to openly just go back and forth like we always have, and
It is definitely different.
yeah. So obviously the name of the company is derived from
Yes.
your
So,
service.
it was, this whole thing was kind of an accident. I went out and I cooked. There was a local barbecue competition here. So me and 6 of my buddies said, "Hey, this is a great opportunity to drink beer. Let's go do this." So we went out and we ended up becoming, actually, I don't know where it's at, but I have a trophy where we actually ended up our first contest ever getting second place, People's Choice. And it was like, man, this is kind
Wow.
of cool. And we didn't get any money or anything like that. It was just, kind of a cool thing to do. So
Mhm.
I ended up doing another one, and didn't do so well, but I was hooked. I made my own sauces. I made my own rubs.
Yeah.
And a buddy of mine at work one day, he was like, "Dude, listen, Travis, I've listened to you talk about this stuff for a year. Tell you what, let's go in halves. Let's start this. Let's see if we can do it." So it kind of was a birthplace, at work late at night talking. It was the birthplace of Flaps 20. We started bottling our rubs first, and then our sauces later. And it's not a booming business right now. I'm still in the Coast Guard, so I can't get out on the road too much and
Right.
promote. But we're doing well, and we're plugging along, and people are enjoying the flavors, and
That's awesome, man.
and doing these little events, and it helps that I am a competition cooker. I'm in
It
the
adds credit for sure.
yes, yeah, because I only use our brand. Like I
Yeah.
don't mix any of our stuff, so I'm only using our stuff. So I'm standing behind it, and it's done well. So and I've had fun, and that's it, man.
I've always had a problem with like certain big chains that put their somebody slaps a name on a rub and puts it out there for $12 a bottle, but
Yes.
I don't know who made it. It's nice when it's somebody like you where you can actually talk to the people and say, "Hey, what made you think of that?" Well, this is why we did. It's nice that smaller business connection, and it just means there's more thought that goes into it. So it's not like a mass-produced chain garbage Montreal steak spice whatever.
Right.
Like I've always had.
And when you talk to the company, you talk to me.
That's it.
Like you literally, like Instagram, Facebook, when you message somebody, you're messaging me, and
Right.
I'm the one that's getting back with you, and it makes you feel good when people talk good about your stuff, and
Yeah.
and doing these events like this, I absolutely, in 2 years, me and my wife have already talked. Actually, we're buying a trailer early next week, and we've talked and said, "Hey, we're going to go and do a pro circuit. Like
Right.
we're literally going out and doing 30, 35 contests a year."
Oh, wow.
And we're going to travel. Yeah, we're going to travel as far as we need to, but that's what we're going to do. Because that's what we love. So
Right. Just a quick shot of your scroller on your page there, so that people can take a look and see that. Yeah, it's some heavy duty stuff. So flaps20.com, check it out. It's fantastic. Yeah, and we'll definitely
and definitely get with me after this. I mean, we talk a lot, so we definitely would love to do something with your page about like maybe a giveaway or something.
Yeah, for sure.
Getting some flavors. Now, I don't know, and maybe you can do this for me, Ryan. After this, maybe you can try to put some stuff in a cart and act like you're going to buy it, just to kind of give us. We've never shipped anywhere other than the United States. Like yeah. So if you so I don't even know if it's set up where I can send you stuff.
Oh, okay.
So if you put it in your buggy and you just email me back and say, "Hey man, look, it's only going to cost $8 to ship it here."
Yep.
Because we'll open that up and we'll
Give
you
it a
know, that's yeah.
absolutely.
Give it a try.
Yeah, we'll try it, and then well, as soon as we're done, we'll do that.
And let
So
me know.
back to now we know the man behind the meat story here. So
Yes.
what's our homework, Teach? What are we doing?
All right. So what we're gonna do is I'm going. Me and you both. We'll bounce some stuff back and forth. But I was gonna go through Steak 101. The big thing now in competition, barbecue world, steak world, the SCA about 3 years ago started coming on strong.
Okay.
The SCA, which is a steak cook-off association, and it got a lot of people involved because it's a one-day event. You don't have to have a trailer. You don't have to have expensive smokers. You come with your your Weber and some charcoal, and you got it.
So somebody like me could
Oh,
potentially
and
get
that's what
involved.
a lot of people. So I've done events, first year events that had over 30 cookers in them. I've done second year events this year at the Shed in Mississippi. Had an event, had 187 cook teams. I mean it's growing,
Wow.
but it's easy because you pay your money, and all you have to do is bring your grill and your season. I mean, that's it, because they provide the steaks, they provide all that stuff. So I think it's getting some interest, and because of the interest, other companies are buying in on it. And a lot of people aren't talking. I mean, you go and look at videos, and it's pulled pork, it's chicken, it's ribs, it's how I do this, but nobody really has talked about a good steak that you can make at your house. So
And
that's
that's what we're going to try and get people involved with today.
Yeah, and really, after we do this, a few items is all that you need
Okay.
to make a good steak at home. But the big thing is you don't make mistakes.
Nice.
And I think a lot
Nice.
of
You must be
people.
a dad.
I am a dad, yes.
Same here. Yeah.
So a lot of people are making mistakes, I think, when they come to cooking, because it's how their uncle or how we've always done it. And this is really, I just want to make sure and give some hints and tricks and talk about stuff to where when they do a steak next week with us,
Right.
they're like, man, you know what? This is good.
And it
This is
was
really good.
easy. It
And
is
it
really
is easy.
easy.
It
Yeah.
is super easy.
Yep.
And that's what I mean. So really, types of steaks. There's a few types of steaks that I would stay away from if you're going to grill them, which we've talked about, like a top round. Anything from the round or a top round, I would stay away from if you're going to grill it. Those are braised
And it's just
steak.
because there's not a lot of fat content in it.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
And the fibers are so tightly wound. Those muscles are so
Right.
naturally tight.
Yeah. I mean, basically, you look at those kind of steaks as a brisket. You're
Right.
not going to cook a brisket in an hour. So why try to cook a top round? But there's some
Absolutely.
steaks that I think that people are missing out on. There's a sirloin. One of my favorite, other than a ribeye, a sirloin or a flat iron steak, which is type of sirloin. Those
Right.
are great steaks. If you treat them right and you do it and you know what you're doing, they're going to come out great. You're going to be the king of the cul-de-sac, is what I say.
Nice.
So stay away from anything that's really lean. I would get a ribeye. A sirloin would be my second choice. T-bone only, and a lot of people may or may not know, a T-bone is nothing more than a fillet and a New York strip.
That's correct.
So
And it's just
yeah,
connected by the bone.
it's just very much connected by the bone.
Mm-hmm.
So I would get a T-bone. The reason why I get a T-bone over a strip or a fillet is I like that bone. That bone kind of helps protect the meats, gives it a little bit more flavor.
Right.
If I can't find a T-bone, then that's when I would go with either a New York strip or a fillet. Fillets are expensive. I mean, honestly, down here.
Same here.
You buy one. I looked the other day. One or a pack of 2 fillets were $20.
Yeah, it's about when they're not on sale here. When you get we have a different grading system. It's the same idea, but we call it AAA. We do have Prime, but
Yep.
like a AAA fillet, 2-pack of steaks, and they're tiny, dude. Like they're small, and you're looking at $28
Yeah,
Canadian.
it's
So
ridiculous.
20 American makes sense, like it's
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah, and that it was another thing I was going to talk about. Now that we know, what kind of steaks to look at or look for.
Right.
You starting out. If you've never cooked a steak or you want to cook a steak and you want to practice, sirloin is a really good steak to do.
Yep.
But if you have a little bit more and you're like, hey, I want to try a ribeye, I would choose a ribeye. Now the grades, a lot of people don't understand it, and I don't know about you guys up there, but something that's big and popular now down here is ungraded meat. Do y'all have that at
Ungraded?
all?
No, I've never heard of
Ungraded.
this.
So in America, I guess you can have inspected meat. All of our beef is inspected.
USDA, yeah.
USDA inspects all of it.
Right.
But a producer of beef has to pay a little bit more money to get it graded. So a lot of companies now, and actually some overseas companies, Australia, we have a local grocery store here. They buy Australian USDA inspected meat, but it's not graded.
Not graded.
No. So they don't have to pay that extra price to say that it's select, which is, so our beef, like you, and I've read up on Canadian, AAA, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Ours is select,
choice,
and then prime.
Right.
And then you get into some Wagyu stuff that's kind of graded a little bit different. I'm not 100% understanding the way it's graded, but
the A5s and the A4s and the
and A9s. We got a guy locally that does A9 briskets, and he buys every A9 brisket that comes out. He's the only guy that sells it. And these
what's
things
that worth?
Dude, they're not bad. They're I think $6.99, $7.99 a pound. I mean, they're not. Yeah, it's
That's
not a
bad at all.
price. No, it's not bad at all. So
yeah, we pay at the butcher that I use here, which is a place called VG Meats, and they're incredible. Just one of the best places in the city to get farm to city beef. And I'll pay usually about $4.99 a pound for a brisket from them. But it's you can't beat the quality. Like it's a full packer, right? But it's just not. But it's not cryovac. It's sitting fresh out in the cat, and because they sell it, they have so much volume. It's right in the cooler. They pull it out. They paper wrap it just like old times and hand it to you.
I wish we had someplace like that. That would be awesome.
It's great. It is great. So what should we buy this week for next week?
I would say, and this is what I'm going to cook. Okay. So next week, I would buy a ribeye. I wouldn't buy, now, like I said, the grading system is different. Okay. I would just buy whatever ribeye you can. I mean, don't think that a prime ribeye is going to be, this is going to be the best steak that I got because it's prime, right, and I'm paying $10 a pound for, and some other person's going to pay $6 a pound. I would say get a nice marble. Look for the marble. Make sure there's not there's what they're called the spinalis, which is the muscle. There's actually 2 or 3 different, depending on where the ribeye comes from or what slice of the ribeye you get. There's actually up to 3 muscle groups that it's in it. What you just want is a nice looking marbled steak, and the spinalis, which is the top portion. It actually is where it curves around. That's one of the best pieces of meat that you'll get. Okay. Look for something like that. Look for a decent size, like eye in the middle of fat, and you'll be great. Okay. That is what. So that's the first piece of homework that Ryan and I are leaving you with is getting you a steak. Now, if you don't have a ribeye, what we're gonna do next week, you can do with any kind of steak. Get your steak that you like, and that was another point. Some people love New York strips. Get that. Don't come out of your comfort zone to cook something because you see it somewhere else.
Or just because 2 talking heads on Facebook.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, and that's one thing that I see a lot of videos doing is the videos will tell you, hey, I buy St. Louis spare ribs. Okay, that's cool, but I've never cooked one before. I don't like. I like baby backs. Okay,
Yeah.
then buy baby backs. Buy what the ingredient list and how you cook it is not going to be any different.
No.
And we'll set you up to where, hopefully, knock on wood, you're going to have the best experience with a steak next weekend.
It's gonna. What about rubs? What should they be prepared to have?
Well, so here's okay. So this is the list that I have, because rubs, all in all, to me, rubs is so far down the list of things that you need to have a good steak.
Right.
One, get a good steak. Get something that you're going to enjoy. Get something that you're going to like.
I can hear Ashley clapping at every word you're saying right now.
And because I can cook with Flaps 20 stuff, and I can season a steak up, and it could be the best steak you've ever tasted.
Mm-hmm.
But the end game, there's a lot of other stuff that goes into the end game.
Right.
One, your cooker. Is your cooker clean? It doesn't matter. I've had some of the best steaks on a flat iron skillet. I've had really good ones off of gas, charcoal, pellet smokers. I've had great stuff off of everything.
Yeah, every single. It's just a matter of honing your skills and mastering that cooker.
Yeah. So the second part of this homework assignment is making sure that your grill is clean and it's ready for next week. Then fuel, of course, if you're using a gas grill, you're going to have gas. If you're using a charcoal grill, I think there's more into buying quality fuel for whatever cooker you have than anything. You can use hard, and this is what I use. I use hard lump wood or lump charcoal.
I use a maple. It's a maple hardwood
I bet that's good.
It's fantastic, really and it's very versatile. It works across protein. It doesn't impart a whole lot of flavor. It burns so consistently, and it leaves a little bit of ash. It's not like like people using briquettes and stuff. You realize at the end of your cook that you've got a bucket full of ash, and it's
you just paid $10 for a bucket of ash.
Pretty much.
And again, I'm not knocking on, but you can save yourself so much money in the long run.
Absolutely.
If you buy quality, quality cooker, and not even a quality cooker. I'm literally okay. So here's number one secret of Flaps 20 stuff. I use a steak cooker, and I call it my steak cooker because that's all it does is I cook steaks with it. It was given to me, but was bought from the prison system in Mississippi down here. So our Mississippi Correctional Facility builds grills, and it is it is 17 inches by probably about 10 inches. And it's the best steak cooker ever.
So they're not just making toilet hooch. They're making
they're making grills. And this thing was at the point in time that it was bought, it was $75. So it's just knowing your equipment. Know your equipment. Know what to do.
I totally agree. I totally agree when it comes to equipment. I've cooked on no name brand little camping stove type charcoal grills that you buy for $20 that you throw in the car, you throw out after one use. I've kept them around for years just to have an extra small little searing station if I need it for something it doesn't matter. They all do the same thing. It's just a matter of how you operate them. I've always said, if you want to go out and spend $1,200, $1,300 on a King Ranch Weber, then by all means, you have a lot of room. Good for you.
Oh, do it. Yeah, but go for it.
I've got a fire pit in the back that's a 20 or 11-hour, 22.5-inch rim that I can actually fit my rotisserie ring around. There's a new barbecue, and it doesn't cost me a damn thing, So
exactly,
it's all about mastering what you got and figuring out. I totally agree with you there, and I don't care if you're getting it from a prison in Mississippi or if you're getting it from the Weber store or a Yoder smoker,
and that's what it is. So know your equipment, know how it fires up, know how it burns, because I think that some of the mistakes that people make is you're doing a dirty burn, or you're doing too hot or too cold. And that's where you're going to get the bitter. If you're burning a bad fire, you're going to get a bitter taste. It's going to be some
Right.
smoke. It's going to be that white, thick smoke. It's going to be nasty. If you're burning if you're doing it too hot, you're going to burn your steak up. You're not going to get it to the doneness. If it's too cold, you're not going to get that sear and
Yeah,
lock
there's
in the
no
juices.
reaction, no Maillard reaction on the
Yeah,
outside of that. Yeah.
So homework again. Buy you a good steak. Clean your grill. Get some good fuel. And once you do that, then the next week, talking about trimming it up, how to trim. Some people over trim, some people under trim. It's nothing. And oh, I don't like ribeyes because it flares up. Well, trim a little bit more fat off of it.
Yeah, absolutely. You're not it shouldn't be on there that long, so
Oh
it
no,
shouldn't.
and
Yeah, it shouldn't.
it should
Yeah.
not be. So those are the first things.
Okay.
Then going into that, once you have that, then and it's a personal preference. Do you marinate? And I don't know, Ryan. What do you do? Do you
I
like
don't. I don't. I'm a dry age guy. I like my
Okay.
beef dry aged. I don't like. I used to when I was a kid, just because it was what we did because it was always cheap cuts, right? So cheap cut marinated, absolutely do it. Something like that. I don't find myself, and it's just a personal preference. I've tried it. Things are tasty. I'm not going to knock somebody if that's what they like, but.
Right.
Personal preference, I love the taste of beef. Like I love the taste
Yes.
of real, just plain old beef. So and like I say, if you're doing like a cheap cut that's going to be cooked a little longer or anything else, or you're looking for like a regional flavor, or if you're like making an Asian inspired dish, and you want to marinate something so that it represents that, absolutely, I'm all for it. But if I'm doing meat and potatoes on the plate, a baked potato loaded and a steak, it's salt, pepper, and garlic for me, man.
Right.
And maybe overnight, like a dry brine overnight, even.
Yeah.
Sure.
And I mean, you've kind of with the dry age and all that kind of stuff. You kind of took my next point uh, over. Kind of you've
Sorry.
actually, but no. You put an explanation point on it because it is. So here's I didn't. Growing up, again, we did the same thing. We marinated. My dad marinated steaks, and oh man, these have been in the marinade for 12 hours, and it's like, and I thought those were good steaks.
Same here. My mom would do it with like balsamic vinegar and garlic and
all
Worcester
kinds of
sauce,
stuff,
Italian
right?
dressings, and
I've had the Italian dressings. Some of the best steaks I've had Italian dressings.
Some of the best chicken I have ever had was marinated in Italian dressings and then prepared afterwards. And so I'm totally down. Like I say, I'm not against marinating at all.
So here's my point, or not even my point, but here's what I started doing. So after leaving the house, learning some stuff, I started I'm just going to do a dry rub and let them sit. Okay.
Yep.
Well, those were good. Now that I've been introduced to this whole SCA thing, which I've only been doing not only a year.
Oh, wow.
I've been doing SCA events because I'm a barbecue guy. Steak was hey, that's something that we eat for dinner, not doing competitions.
Right.
But I started doing it more and more. And I will tell you that the technique that I use now is some of the best quality product that I throw out there during competition or even at the house. And I do marinate. And it's really super weird because it's different marinating the way that I do than what I'm used to.
Right.
So what I end up doing is I take whatever your favorite flavor is. If you like Dell's marinade, or if you like if you like Italian dressing, what I end up doing is I take and I just coat. When I say coat, I don't put it in a plastic bag. I put it in a pan, and I put a thin layer of marinade on each side.
Okay.
And I'll sometimes I'll even brush it on. I just
Wow.
brush on a thin layer of like Worcestershire sauce or anything, soy sauce, and I let it sit for no more. And here's a rule of thumb that I have:
Okay.
A rule of thumb I have and I've used is only marinate or marinate your whatever you're going to cook, your protein. Marinate it for the length of time that you're going to cook it.
Really?
And that may not make any sense, but what I do is, okay, chicken's a quick cook.
Right.
I don't marinate chicken for more than an hour
wow.
because to me, if you marinate something longer than you're going to cook it, it starts becoming mushy, and then it
breaks
starts
it
breaking
down.
down the
acids,
protein a little bit too much. All right, so I put this thin layer. I know I'm going to cook a steak, and I can do start to finish cooking a steak in 7 minutes.
Right.
And that's flipping each side. That's doing whatever. So,
wow.
So I brush it on very, very lightly, and I sit it in the refrigerator for about 20, 30 minutes most. Well, when I bring it out,
it doesn't overtake that either. That's another thing. It doesn't overpower that flavor that I'm
yes,
looking for, I guess. So maybe
no, and that's what I've learned. And like again, I was very unsure with it, but talking to people and doing contests, it just adds a layer of flavor. But here's something else that I do. It is it's you take it, you layer it the flavor, that one marinade flavor, you take it off, and then I pat it dry.
Okay.
And that's where we're going back to the same thing. A dry steak will cook better,
way better
than a wet steak.
Yeah, you're not steaming, and that's one of the rules of sous vide is you take it out of that bag, you dry it, you get as much moisture off of that as you can before it hits whatever you're searing it on, because otherwise you're steaming it.
Yes, and that's true. And if you look at water and me, I mean, I'm not a scientist, but water boils, Fahrenheit down here,
right.
So anything over 212 degrees, you're creating that steam.
Right.
So when you're cooking a steak that's wet, the first thing that's going to hit is the moisture in it is going to turn to steam, and it's not going to allow you. Now, I'm not saying anything about flavor, but it's not allowing you to build that crust,
right?
That nice char mark, and that's where you get a lot of your flavor too.
Exactly.
So I marinate it no more than 30 minutes. I take it out, I pat it dry, then I rub it with the seasoning. And that again, that's why rub is so low in what you need to do for a good steak, because you rub it. Well, I use a mixture of two of our products. I use our griller, which is a Mediterranean sea salt. It's got some fresh herbs in it, garlic, salt, pepper. I mean, it's that, what you would think steakhouse salt, pepper, kind of thing. But then I come back and I layer it with one of our barbecue rubs. It's a competition style rub. It's not out on our site, but I use it in competition.
Right.
But it has a little bit of that sweetness and brown sugar that helps build that caramelization and that crust.
Get that bark. Yeah. That.
I do one side and I let it sit for about 15 minutes. Then I flip it and do the other side. I don't season both sides at one time. I let it sit and let that salt suck up some moisture, go back into the meat, do what it needs to do. Just blend those flavors together.
And that also is giving you time to get that meat up to room temperature as well.
Yes. Yeah.
Right. So it's kind of gives you something to do while you're waiting to put that piece of meat on the grill. Right.
Right. And then I fire it up. So we went through. We've picked our steak. We got it trimmed up.
Okay.
We have fuel. We got the cooker ready. We fired up our grill. Again, we've talked about, a bad cook because bad smoke. We've talked about a clean cook. We've talked about low temp, high temp. I cook my steaks anywhere from about 560 to about 640. I don't try to go higher or lower than that. That is what, and a steak should be cooked quick. Unless you're sous vide or you're reverse searing, you want to cook that steak as fast as you can. Lock in that flavor.
Yeah, immediately.
Yeah, so I'll get it up and I'll let my cooker run. I mean, sometimes like for barbecue competitions, doing pulled pork or a butt or something, I'll let my cooker run for an hour before I put something on it.
Yeah,
Just to
just to
make
get that
sure.
smoke out, and
Yeah,
yep,
just to make sure that hey, I'm not getting any bad flavors. Now with a
yep,
steak cook, I'll start it up and wait 10 minutes and it'll be
mm-hmm,
up to temp. I'll make sure all my coals are white hot and they're ready to go.
yep,
And then you just take the steak and you sear it. Now, I use grill grates on my steak cooker, and those are the I think they're milled aluminum. Kind of keeps the heat and makes those nice grill marks. If you don't have those, it's fine. But I would suggest that you turn your steak. So turn it 45 or 90 degrees, however you want to turn it. Wait about so I throw my steak on and I set my timer for about a minute and 45 seconds. When that timer goes off, I turn it. And that gives you, I mean, that gives you some aesthetics. It makes the
yep,
steak look nice with the grill marks, but it also, moves it to a hotter part of the grill because where the steak is laying when you put it there,
yep,
it drops the temp. You're not going to have as high of temp. So you're not searing as much as you can if you just continue to leave it there. So you move it to a hotter part of the grill.
right,
Uh, so I do that, minute 45, minute 45, and then I flip and I do the same exact thing, minute 45, and then I'll start checking my temp. I don't know how do you like your steak, Ryan?
I'm a medium rare to rare guy.
Okay.
I
All right.
like it. I
Well,
like
yeah.
it on the bloody side.
Yes. Yeah. I
I'm
think to me, that's the only way you eat. Like, that's the only way you can have a steak.
Ashley. How do you
Um,
like yours?
Nice and bloody.
Yeah,
yeah. See,
I
that's how it
Absolutely.
is. Yeah, so if you like it nice and bloody, 130, 135, um, pull it, let it rest. That's a big thing too, pulling
right.
it, letting it rest.
Letting it rest. Resting is the key to a good steak. I don't care what
Yeah.
anybody says. You will ruin that steak if you pull it off that grill and start cutting into it and eating it.
Oh yeah. I mean,
It's a
and,
lost
and
cause.
you're doing a disservice to yourself
Yes,
by
sir.
not letting it pull those juices. Because what the
Mm-hmm.
resting process does is it pulls the juices. So when you're cooking a steak, all those juices kind of run out.
Mm-hmm.
As it cools, it opens it back. It opens itself back up, and the protein kind of
Yeah.
relaxes, and it pulls all that juice back inside of it. So what I ended up doing is, like I said, I do the minute 45. I flip it. I start checking it, and I don't know about you, but I check it in. I check it in three big key spots. I check it on the edge because that's always going to be more done than the middle. So I check it on the edge.
Mm-hmm.
I check it in the middle, and then I put a probe. I put my thermopin right in the middle of the steak, like not in the middle, but like
Yeah.
on the side of it, and
Right.
I
But
check
through
it
the middle.
there.
Yeah.
Yes, through the middle. And I'm looking for an average. Like I know that so if I'm doing it in the mid or the edge, it's probably going to be 145 degrees.
Okay.
Well, when I do it in the middle, it's going to be 135. Well, I'm looking at something to marry those two up. So I'm looking at 140 in the middle. That's what I want. And then I go to the side because you're going to find pockets that may or may not. You may go into a piece of fat and man, it's 90 degrees. But then you go to the edge, it's 160. Well,
Yeah.
you better check it somewhere else. And that to me gives you a really good idea of how that
Like an
steak's going to come out.
overall.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
gives you an overall. You've checked it in three spots. You know that this is 145, this is 135, and if I check it in the middle, it's 140. Well, it's probably exactly like you want it done.
I can
So you,
I can hear Ashley. I think there's something. Is there a question, Ashley?
There's so many questions.
Is there?
yes, let's
I'm
do
so
this.
sorry. I didn't mean to. We've been.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
feel
I've
like
been sitting. I
we're.
had to start writing stuff down. I was afraid I was
All
gonna
right,
like
let's do
lose it.
this. Let's answer
You
some
got a lot of
questions.
people hungry. Like there's
All
people
right,
drooling on their keyboards right now.
I like that. I
Oh,
like it.
everybody's very upset.
Well, make sure you listen, guys, to Travis and what he's telling you to get this week because he's coming back next week and we're going to cook this stuff. And he's
Yes,
going to
we
show you
are.
how to do it properly.
Okay, Sarah Deem kicked it off. She wanted to know.
Oh, Travis is frozen on mine. Is he frozen on yours,
Oh no,
Ashley?
Travis.
Travis, did we lose you?
Actually,
Hang
yeah.
on. No, I'm
Oh, I
here.
can hear him.
I can hear you guys.
Oh, let me just take you out and put you back in 1 second.
All right.
See if that. Yeah,
All
I
right.
think
Am I
you're
good?
back.
All
You
right.
back? There he is.
Back.
Okay.
I'm back.
Beauty. Excellent. We good?
Sorry. Yeah, absolutely. Ashley, go ahead.
Sarah wanted to know how we feel about the sous vide. Understandably.
I don't want to hurt Ryan's feelings.
I know.
Okay.
I didn't think it was for you.
It's okay.
I'm just, I'm not gonna.
It's okay.
Yeah.
I
Moving
get it.
on. So
no, sous vide. Let me tell you, sous vide is awesome. I mean, it really is. Sous vide is, it's a great way to cook steak. It's a really great way to make sure that your steak is going to be perfectly done the way that you want.
Absolutely.
Restaurants have been doing it. I mean, honestly, restaurants have been doing it for years. That's where the kind of the whole cooking method came from.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not bad because you still are going to throw it in a cast iron skillet with a little bit of thyme or butter. You're going to throw it in a grill.
Yeah.
So you're still going to get that char mark. It's just it takes a while. You're prolonging your cook a little bit longer. But you're getting a perfect product, I think, every single time.
Anything else, Ash?
Oh, so much more. We'd also like to know if anybody else has like a closet A1 steak sauce addiction.
Oh.
Is that appropriate, or
It
is that something that's frowned upon?
No, you can eat a steak any way that you want to. I think it's
not
really,
at our house, but
not at our house.
No, I mean, but I think it's funny that you'll see those memes all the time about the people who eat steak with ketchup. Hey, man, you know what? It's what you like.
It's
man.
Ashley's mother.
That was me before I met Ryan.
That's Ashley's mother.
Man. But food is food, and if you enjoy your mashed potatoes with sugar instead of salt, eat it, man. Eat
whatever makes you happy. That's right.
Eat what you love. But do try some of these tips and tricks that we're going to share with you, and what we're going to do next week. Try it. And you might be surprised and you say, hey, I don't need ketchup anymore.
Right.
The day that I abandon ketchup is going to be a very sad day. But we're not talking about steak, at least. I can do without. Last question that I have here from Sarah is, do you have like a funky, pardon me, like a tricked out smoker? Like, do you have like a crazy extended stack, or have you done anything very funky with your setup, or is it pretty basic stuff?
No, my stuff is basic, store bought. I haven't done anything. I'm part of a couple pages that they have these mods and
I've seen some of the stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, and I don't.
A bit much.
Yeah, there is. Like, if you know your cooker, you can cook. And you learn it. Like, there's days I will literally burn a fire in my smoker just to burn it, just to see, okay, hey, I've used this much charcoal.
Yeah.
What was I doing yesterday?
Yeah, exactly. Let me see what kind of cook I can do with this, or let me see.
I got that new face cord of applewood, and I just wanted to see how it was going to burn, because I wasn't sure how cured it was or whatever. So yeah absolutely, I ran it all day long just to keep an eye on the smoke and see what it looked like. And maybe I'm a little bit of a psycho, but that's me.
So we had our good friend Tara on last week. She's a chef as well.
Yep.
She's gonna say she's here. She's out west, right?
Yeah, she's in New Westminster, British Columbia.
That's where it is. Fantastic. Yeah. Tara was wondering what your absolute favorite thing to barbecue is.
Man,
it's a tough one. I know.
It is because okay. So here's a secret. None of it is my favorite to cook.
Really?
No, I mean, brisket. I love brisket. I will eat brisket. I'm doing a ton of slabs of ribs. I'm doing 4 slabs of ribs tomorrow. I will probably eat 1 rib.
And that's what I was going to say.
And
that's
you work
that hard,
it's hard chicken's the same way. I'm cooking chicken right now, and I probably won't even eat the chicken. Like, I enjoy cooking it. Now, chicken is my favorite thing to prep, cook, and turn in.
Okay.
Last year I was getting kicked in the butt and the tail with chicken. My chicken scores last year were not what I wanted it to be.
Really?
So I took and I said, hey, you know what? If there's one thing that I'm going to improve this year, it's going to be my chicken. So I started trimming better. I started paying attention to my cooks, and I started cooking a lot of chicken. actually upgraded my sauce. I made my own, another one of my sauces that may come out this year. Redid it, retooled a couple things, and since I've been hitting on chicken.
Nice.
So chicken is fun. It's the hardest thing to cook, I think, but it's fun. I enjoy it now.
That's good. And that's what it is with me. It's the thrill of the cook.
Yes.
And by the
yes.
time you're done, I've drank enough beer to feed the neighborhood, and I'm not hungry.
Exactly. Hey, I'm the same way. I am the same way.
And you've been in the smoke the whole time,
Yep.
So the flavor's already on you.
You can eat your T-shirt that you're wearing because it smells. It's just like, man, I'm over this now. So
yeah.
Ew.
What else, Ashley? Anything?
Now our lovely friend Bren, he's got questions about rubs. Now, obviously not regarding steaks, but he knows that you're a bit of a rub man.
I am.
Even if it's for another day. I mean, because this might be a bit of a rabbit hole to dive down, but he's got some rub questions for you.
Hey,
he wants to know what's good.
Well, compared to the rubs that I make, or like
I imagine you probably can't divulge too much about what's in your product.
No, I mean, well, you say that, but the ingredients label, the FDA requires me to put my ingredients on the label. So, I mean, there's not any secret stuff. My particular rubs that I like, which is all of the ones that we have and we carry full-fledged on our website. We make a couple rubs that we bring back and forth just because of time frames and, hey, this does better in the summer, so we're only going to sell it in the summer. CPR is what I used for a long time in competitions. It's chicken pork ribs. It's a go-to all-purpose barbecue rub. Our coffee rub is really good. It's called Cowboy. It's got coffee and cocoa.
That's a big one now. The coffee
rubs. A lot of people are doing the coffee. And what we did a little bit different on our coffee rub is, if anybody knows, when coffee is heated, like if you burn a pot of coffee, it's going to be bitter. So when you use coffee and you put it in a rub, you're making it hot and you're going to continually put heat on it. So it's going to have a bitter flavor.
Right.
What we ended up doing was we added cocoa for that sweetness level. So it balances out that coffee. So you don't get that bitterness. You just get a really good, bold flavor.
Right.
Our Thriller is an all-purpose beef rub, brisket, stuff like that is great on big cuts of beef. And then we got the Griller, which is our Mediterranean salt, pepper, garlic rub. So yeah, those are my favorite. There's other brands out there. I don't think you can go wrong with any rub that's mass produced. It's just all on your technique and how you do it. Now, I would suggest, don't live or die by one rub. Even the stuff that I make and my competition rubs, I layer it. You have to have a bit of savory. You have to have a bit of spice. You have to have some salty, undertones and black pepper. So yeah, just do what you like, but start experimenting. I mean, it doesn't have to necessarily be Flaps 20 stuff. You can buy something off the shelf at your local grocery store.
I say make
add
your
something
own.
to it.
Make your own.
Yeah, you're always making your own
Make
rubs
your own
here.
rub.
Yeah, make your own. And that's what I mean. Experiment with some stuff. Make it good.
Here in Canada, we have a store called the Bulk Barn, and the Bulk Barn is great for bulk spices, for dry spices, and just making your own thing. And I'm telling you, you can get any flavor. You got a craving for a flavor, you go to that store, you'll fulfill it.
You'll find it.
You can find a way to make a rub out of that. So if you want to make a lime and jalapeno flavored chicken breast,
absolutely,
you can go there and they'll have something for that, or they'll have a combination of things.
Yep.
So I've always told people, just find the flavors, think about them, see what basic rubs are, and just go from that, build from that,
right?
And you'll have
and layer it. Make sure you layer your flavors. Layer them.
Yep. Anything else, Ashley?
I think that you're definitely gonna have a few people going out buying some steaks and prepping.
You need to.
Yeah, we got a lot of people.
I cannot wait. I cannot wait till next week. I'm going to fire up the cooker. I'm going to have the camera outside. I'm going to take you through every step of it.
I'm going to.
I did miss one.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Christian wanted to know how you feel about a Chicago char.
Hey, I like it. Again, I have to tell you, like there's like the blue, people sometimes like it, like the blue steak, and that's basically, steakhouse. You flip it,
kissed it, yeah,
right.
Yeah, you kiss it with the flame or a hot, salamander or however you're going to cook it. I don't think there's anything wrong with anything. It is what I get kind of frustrated with is when I do a video or when I talk to these live events, it is more about, hey, I'll show you how I do it, but tweak everything that I say. If you don't like it medium like I do,
right,
try something else. If you don't like the flavor profile, don't go out and buy this brand of rub that you've never tasted because somebody's told you. Well, enjoy it. If you like salt and pepper on your steak, next week, whatever day we're going to do this, bring salt and pepper. Bring whatever you enjoy eating with a steak. All we're going to do is go through and say, hey, you use salt and pepper, but if you use this technique with your salt and pepper, you're probably going to get a better product.
Absolutely. And it all comes down to that is that technique. Yeah, for sure.
It is technique. It's letting it rest. Any one of these little tips and tricks that you do, you're going to be like, man, what'd you put on the steak? I put the same thing I did last week, but this is what I did different.
I cooked it different this time.
Yeah, I cooked it different.
Yeah. And like you say, make sure your pits or wherever you're cooking next week, make sure they're nice and clean and ready to go. Because we're going to judge you.
Oh yeah, yeah. And again, I mean, I said this before. When we get off of here, if Ryan checks and sees kind of the shipping rates and all that kind of stuff, Flaps may throw something down if it's okay with Ryan.
Absolutely.
That says, hey, you do the cook. You join us next week.
Yep.
You do the cook and submit your picture of your final product, and we may, as Flaps, throw in something for the guy.
That'd be fantastic.
The guy or the girl who.
Bren, did you hear that? Bren wants rubs.
Yeah. So hey, throw it down. Let's see what you got, and and Flap stands behind what they do. So and we're out and about, and we're kind of boots to the ground kind of approach to things, and we love doing this kind of stuff and giving back. So
yeah, we saw your cookout there for the workers there a couple of weeks ago as well, and you guys really do.
Fantastic.
You guys really do step up to the plate, and
we try. I mean, we're small, so we're still able to do small scale stuff, but it does. I mean, that's what matters. So
that's fantastic. All right, is that it, Ashley?
You guys have a lot of people excited. That is everything for now.
Awesome. And hey, I will go back through the comments, and I will respond individually with the comments too.
I appreciate
and
that.
Sure.
Tara
I like
did that
it
for us last week as well, and
fantastic.
Yeah. So if there's more questions, or once I don't know if you're going to save this video and then share it again, so people can watch it on your page. Every comment that comes, tag me in it. Tag either Travis, Flaps Up Barbecue Team, or Flaps 20 Sauces and Rubs. Tag any one of those three, and I will be happy to answer any of your questions. Talk to you, tell you a little bit of my technique or tips or tricks or whatever, and we'll go from there. So
excellent.
We've kept you for an hour, Travis. Thank you so much.
Hey, thank you.
Fantastic.
I'll see you soon, Ashley.
Love you.
I hope so. I hope so. Just walk downstairs,
Right?
That's right.
So yeah. So next week, just to clarify everything, just bring your steak, have your cooker, and we're gonna go through everything. And post your pictures of your steak. Flaps 20 will throw some stuff to you. In just right now in the 50 states, but depending on what Ryan gets back, it may be in Canada too.
I'm going to try that
as soon
as we're done. As soon as we're finished, I'm going to give it a shot.
So and just let me know because you'll be the first international order, kind of thing, just over the border.
If it allows me to do it, I'll order something tonight.
All right. And here's another thing. I'll get with Ryan. I say we play a little game next week.
Okay.
And make this a fun cook. Maybe hey, take a swig of beer every time Ryan does, or every time Travis does, or something
You're
like that.
gonna fall over.
Yeah. Hey. I think we can do this. So
all right.
I mean, I just want to make these things fun. I enjoy these things. So
same with me. And if somebody is interested, if you are interested next week and you want to actually cook along with us, I'm down for that.
That would
if you're
be
not
awesome.
Camera shy, I can put you in. What day do you want to do it, Travis?
It's up to you. It is up to you. You let me know.
It's I'm good with either Saturday or Sunday. You tell me which one.
All right, let's do. Why don't we do Sunday?
Sunday. All right.
Yeah,
So
let's
Sunday
do
dinner.
Yeah. So it'll give them an extra day, and instead of
sir.
7, you get 8 days before the next one. So you get bring it. I want to see some good cooks next week.
That sounds awesome. Thank you so much again, Travis. We'll see you next week with I will have a ribeye, and I will have some rubs, and I'll have a clean barbecue. I promise.
Nice. All right. Well, kick the tire, light the fire. It's barbecue time.
You got it, brother. Thank you so much. And everybody else, thanks for joining us. And we'll see you next week with your steaks. Take care. And check out flaps20.com, by the way, before we go. Real quick plug. Flaps 20 barbecue.
Thank you, Ryan.
Absolutely. Thanks, guys. And we'll see you next week. Take care. Thanks, Travis. Take care.
Hey, thank you. I got to go check on some chicken.
Okay, pal.
All right.